Lately, I've been seeing a lot of videos about what happens when you take a break from YouTube. What does taking a break or taking it easy do to your channel? Does it hurt your channel permanently? Does YouTube stop serving your videos as much? As someone who has gone on hiatus and posted with varied consistency, I thought I'd weigh in on this topic. Let's see how taking breaks affected my channel. I'll start with a little background on myself and my channel. I started posting to YouTube on a regular basis in the summer of 2013. By 2015, my digital art channel had grown enough to allow me to begin to transition over the next few years into making YouTube my full-time job. In late June 2015, I took a hiatus from YouTube for a month. I had some pretty good momentum going, and I had been consistently posting 4 to 6 videos every week. It was a lot of work and it was starting to burn me out. Because I have a Patreon community, I still posted a few videos for members, but nothing that the public could see, so I was still getting some views from new content, but not many. And it was all direct traffic, not anything YouTube was sending my way. After the break, I looked at my stats, which didn't seem to be phased, and came to the conclusion that I could do nothing and my channel will still grow. So I decided to cut back the number of videos I was posting. The reason why I'm able to continue growing despite doing nothing is because I've created a lot of evergreen content. This is content that people are searching for, content that people are always going to be interested in. Then in late 2016, I shifted my focus a bit. I didn't have as much time to make these really great evergreen videos. I wouldn't say I posted less content, I just posted a lot of stuff that was not labor intensive for me. I wouldn't say I took a break, but I was definitely taking it easy. Fortunately, I knew I'd have to cut back a bit, so I made sure to post quite a few heavy hitters in early 2016 that hopefully would keep some of that momentum going. These turned out to be some of my best performing videos. I also decided to grow my hair out again and grew some giant sideburns. By 2017, my appearance had changed drastically enough to where I looked like someone else. In retrospect, I see that caused a lot of confusion and probably hurt my performance. That's where I actually start to see a dip in performance, around May of 2017. While all of this was going on, I was also producing courses and posting a lot more content that was only available on Patreon. That meant what high-quality content I was producing was not being served to the public on my channel. Ultimately, this added to the problem of my poor performance, but I was also beginning to see better performance in terms of making money. I was beginning to realize that making a living off of YouTube is more than just getting views and subscribers. Ad revenue is fine and all, but it's way more fulfilling to make money from selling a course or product I created directly to a student. Starting in 2017 and throughout 2018, I began to diversify my content. I made a lot of artist advice videos, did some pretty consistent live streaming, and even started to get into content creator stuff that deals more with the business side of being an artist. By late 2018, I was beginning to get back into the groove of making videos, but rather than quality, I was going for quantity. I watched a few different videos where other YouTubers recommended that you post daily if possible. So I was posting tons of videos, but not many of them were evergreen. To viewers who are used to a guy with slicked back hair that makes reviews and illustration tutorials, this was not well received. But rather than go back to burning myself out making 4 to 6 videos every week, I decided I needed to find something more sustainable that still keeps my channel growing. I know I won't always be able to keep the momentum because life gets in the way. Near the end of 2018, my hair returned to its classic form. By 2019, I had over 100,000 subscribers. At this point, I felt like if I can get this far, I can get to any level I want. But what level is that, and how do I want to get there? I began to dive deep into my analytics and assessed my overall return on investment for everything I was doing to grow my business. I looked at the performance of each category of videos I create, and I culled all but the top performing ones. I could see that posting quantity over quality wasn't working, and posting too much actually made my channel appear to perform worse. It may sound counterintuitive, but you can see evidence of that event not only from the dip in views, but the dips in subscribers. Surprisingly, one of the worst performing types of videos were my live streams. That actually got me a lot of unsubscribes to the point to where I just decided to take a break from it altogether. Despite this realization, I still didn't want to give up on posting what makes me happy. I know full well that I could post mostly reviews and the most generic digital art for beginners videos, and my views would skyrocket, but I don't want to be cheap entertainment, and I think that's where a lot of YouTube artists who get big really quickly end up. Plus, when I studied how much money I was making off of YouTube alone versus selling courses and memberships, it was clear that focusing on selling my own products is a better use of my time from a financial standpoint. However, I'm not in this for the money. I'm in it to help other artists discover digital art and have success with it. So I spent most of 2019 trying to figure out what that balance is and where I want to take my career. It took until late 2019 for my performance to pick back up. I was starting to get a lot more opportunities for reviews, and that's ultimately what most people watch on my channel. The problem is that I don't want to make reviews. I like to do them when there's a reason to, but I'd hate to have to constantly find stuff to review. I see reviews as being supplemental knowledge for artists, not entertainment. So needless to say, I turn down most of what companies offer me. In 2020, all hell breaks loose, and this is where my data really gets thrown off. A lot of people are stuck at home and they are watching my videos a lot more than usual. There's this obvious peak that makes it look like my performance dropped, but really I think there was just an abnormal number of views for that period. Here's where I would have liked to have kept my momentum going. I had a plan, but then 2020 took away some of my ability to produce videos again. I had a limited time to make content, and I had commitments of making videos for my paying members, and I was in my 5th year of making an annual course for Corel Painter, which is a huge production that takes up several months. I also had started to get back into live streaming, but that got put on hold indefinitely. So while I was able to produce several videos that performed really well, I'd say I took it fairly easy during 2020. It wasn't a break, but it was definitely well below my normal level of output. In 2019, I had also earned access to YouTube memberships. This allowed me to make some of my content members only. In 2020, I used this as an opportunity to clean house. At this point, I had created over 1,000 videos. There were just too many for viewers to sort through, and for me to manage. My channel felt cluttered. I sorted my videos by performance, and made private any videos that were deemed irrelevant, inconsistent with my channel focus, or just plain crappy. Any cold videos that had okay performance I made unlisted for members only. While these videos weren't performing well individually, in aggregate, they accounted for a decent chunk of views, impressions, watch time, and potential subscribers. So from this point on, my stats are going to be reduced because of that. In 2021, those COVID views had fizzled out. I was back to where I was in 2019. I also started a second channel. After assessing my return on investment in 2019, I could see that I had a lot of videos that performed well, just not relative to other videos on my channel. The content creator tutorials were never really well received, so I felt like I couldn't post that kind of stuff, even if I thought it might help someone. And although Corel Painter tutorials are where I started my channel, a lot of people unsubscribed when I posted those too. It was starting to turn me off to posting anything, so I re-uploaded my Corel Painter content to a new channel. This took a huge bite out of my stats on my main channel. Not only was I giving up views and subscribers, but I also sacrificed my search ranking. I went from being all over the search results for Corel Painter to being outranked by channels who were re-uploading my work. I've still not recovered my search ranking entirely, but it doesn't really matter because I'm so heavily promoted by Corel anyway, it would be hard not to come across my work. And ultimately, I want people to learn more than they can learn from my free tutorials. So as long as people are ending up buying my products, I don't really care how I rank superficially. My second channel has quickly grown to over 4,000 subscribers, but most importantly, I no longer feel like I have to stress out about posting what I want. Later in 2021, I created a third channel for my content creator videos. I've only just now been able to start creating new content for it, but that's growing at a decent rate too. Overall, I haven't regained the amount of views and subscribers I lost on my main channel, but that's okay. It's not affected my income, and I feel much more motivated to post videos. My only regret is that I did not segment my channel sooner in 2018. Let's also not forget the effects of posting unpopular opinions. There are lots of videos that I've posted that have caused people to unsubscribe. In 2021, I posted some videos about NFTs and called out some fellow YouTube artists, which got me a lot of unsubs. Even posting a series of 8 videos that all go together got me negative 100 subscribers, so you really can't win. But you can see that my stats seem to be starting to creep back up, and perhaps they'll overcome all that damage I did in 2020 and 2021. I think of it like pruning a tree. Yeah, I hacked off some branches, but in the long term, the result is going to yield more fruit. So what effect did taking breaks have on my channel? There are so many factors that contribute to the performance of your channel that it's really difficult to pinpoint an exact cause and effect. I've listed some of the events that I am responsible for, but I haven't even factored in the multitude of YouTube algorithm changes that have impacted my channel. I send a lot of people off of YouTube to look at my products. So am I getting penalized for that? I don't know for sure, but what I do know is that YouTube rewards channels that keep people on YouTube. I can see that my views, impressions, and subscribers are lower than you would expect, given the past trajectory. My impressions got to a real low point, but that also coincided with taking a lot of videos down and moving stuff to a new channel. If you're a larger channel like me, you're probably in the same boat. You took some breaks, but you also did a bunch of other stuff, and then COVID happened, so it's really hard to say taking a break had this effect on my performance. Also, YouTube analytics is a topsy-turvy world. I've spent most of this tutorial focused on my view count, impressions, and subscriber rate, but if I show you my income, I'm actually making a lot more from ad revenue despite my views, subscribers, and impressions being relatively low. A small fraction of this increase in income can be attributed to YouTube memberships revenue, but it's mostly just that I have returned to creating quality evergreen content over quantity with a better understanding of what performs well. And these figures don't even reflect the paid promotion and free products I've received over the last few years. Furthermore, you're only seeing my YouTube analytics here. If I show you how my course sales have grown since 2015, you'll see why I'm no longer concerned with how many views and subscribers I get on YouTube. Ultimately, I've realized that a dip from my channel isn't going to be detrimental because I have so much evergreen content and I've established a reputation in the digital art community. Even if YouTube disappears tomorrow, I've set myself up to where I have other income streams and other ways to promote myself. When I was trying to take other people's advice and pump out a video every day or two, all it ever did was burn me out or turn people off to my channel. That may be easier to pull off if you're just some talking head, but it's not sustainable for most channel formats. Burning myself out only benefits YouTube or Google, not myself or not my viewers. So take advice from other YouTubers with a grain of salt. You can't predict an outcome based on analytics, assumptions, or anecdotes. Our channels are as unique as we are people. When I took my hiatus in 2015, I came back a month later with the realization that I can do nothing and my channel will still grow and I'll still get views and subscribers. That's still true today. I also spoke of a world where the creator is first. In 2021, it certainly feels like that's become a reality. Things have shifted, and now creators are actually calling the shots. I'm glad I had time to experiment and reflect on what I want to create, and I feel like I'm primed and ready to take my career to the next level simply by being myself rather than trying to please an algorithm. So for those of you who are worried that taking a break is going to harm your channel, I'd worry less about that and more about the value and longevity of the content you post. Even my choice to look like a roadie for Neil Young had more of a measurable impact on my performance than taking a break did. If you're a larger channel, I think you should be less worried about taking a break and more concerned about what will happen if you do not. You might call me foolish for having done things to harm my performance. Had I just kept on making great videos that perform well, I'd probably have 1 million subscribers by now. Maybe so, but in the end, you need to live your life. Let YouTube revolve around you. Don't let YouTube run your life. It feels weird to say, but people like me are making a living this way, and there are real struggles you go through to become successful and stay that way. Behind the scenes, people have relationships, families, medical issues, people they care for, you name it. That's not to mention the toll it takes on your emotions to deal with the worst aspects of putting yourself out to the public. Don't think that stress doesn't affect you physically. While analytics can be useful, it's a double-edged sword. A lot of the time, it's just another way to keep you on YouTube. It's built to give you anxiety and keep you addicted to the platform, so you'll keep pumping out content to make more money for Google. Don't let your stats make you feel like you can't take care of yourself. There are more important things in life, and those need to come first. I think if you've been able to create a somewhat large channel, you can eke out a few videos here and there to see yourself through the slow periods. If you're a smaller channel, I'd think about whether or not you need to take a break. Are you coming up with excuses not to be consistent, or do you really need this time off? Most new channels haven't been at it long enough to get burned out, and if you are working really hard, you're probably seeing results. Honestly, there's no way to win at YouTube. Even the biggest YouTubers get their asses handed to them, because YouTube is looking out for YouTube. And if you drop the ball even once, maybe you are penalized for life. But that's not Google's problem, it's yours if you're 100% reliant on a single platform owned by a single company. Even with consistency, there will be ups and downs. My advice is to explore other ways to make income that tie into YouTube. That way, if you're in a lull on YouTube, you'll still have other ways to be creative or generate income. Lucky for you, that's what this channel is all about. Be sure to subscribe if you're interested in more content creator tutorials like this. That's all for today. Thanks for watching and stay creative.